After failing the mission, I altered everyone's memories. I truly made Valerie their wife, their mother. Then, I started a new life, got married, and had children. 5 years passed, and suddenly, the system's prompt echoed in my ears. Host. The original target has gone mad. He has regained his memory and is about to find you with your son. Turning around, Clark and his son were blocking the entrance to my studio, their faces filled with gloom. Why did you leave us? Why does everyone say our wife, mother, is Valerie? Chapter 1. The system prompt sounded just as I was on the phone with my precious son. Russell said that today, the teacher taught them how to make bread. He secretly brought one home, wanting to give it to his mom. On the other end of the line, Eden pretended to be angry. Why not give it to Dad? Dad can also eat it, but Mom has to eat it first. Russell's voice was sweet and tender, and I couldn't help but laugh. The smile had just appeared on my face when suddenly, a familiar system prompt echoed in my ear. Warning, warning, the target is out of control. The system's tone was full of regret. Host. I'm sorry. The original target is out of control. He has regained his memory and is about to find you with your son. It is indeed my mistake. If you need, I can arrange for you to fake your death for free, allowing you to go to another world and start over. Fake my death. 5 years ago, when I discovered that Clark had an unattainable, unforgettable first love and even our son wanted her as his mother, I did consider faking my death. But now, I looked at the warm family photo on my phone screen and shook my head. No need. My life now is good. The love I once could only dream of has become my everyday reality, and I don't want to give it up. Chapter 2. I am a strategist. 12 years ago, I received a mission to come to this world and win over the second male lead, Clark. As long as he gave up on the female lead and fell in love with me, I could return to my original world and be reborn. At that time, I had encountered an accident, leaving my body in a vegetative state. I had no choice but to accept the mission. The system warned me that Clark was a high-difficulty character, someone who was hard to move emotionally. To win his heart, I became a certified nutritionist and spent 3 months preparing different meals for him every day. When he broke his leg trying to win over the female lead, I comforted him, stayed by his side, and helped him with his rehabilitation. Finally, a year later, he proposed to me, saying that meeting me was the salvation of his life. In the 2nd year of our marriage, I gave birth to our first child. I named him Wade. In the 3rd year, when the baby turned 1, Clark held my hand and expressed his hope that we could grow old together with our descendants. I thought the system was malfunctioning since it didn't notify me of the mission's completion. I even thought it wouldn't be so bad to spend the rest of my life happily in this world. Until one ordinary midnight, Clark forgot to log out of his WeChat account on his computer. Clark, I'm back. After all this time, I finally understand what I want. This time, can we get along properly? The message was from Valerie, the original female lead of this world. She was also the unforgettable first love that Clark could never have. 7 years ago, she left Clark and went abroad. Clark drove recklessly to try to win her back but ended up breaking both of his legs. I stayed by his side and helped him with his rehabilitation for an entire year. I thought they had long cut off contact, but it turned out they had been quietly staying in touch all along. The message was sent in their childhood friends group chat. The same group of people who usually affectionately called me sister-in-law were now teasing Clark. It's not easy, Clark. You and your ill-fated lovers finally made it through. When we first got married, I asked Clark to add me to that group, but he said it was just their childhood friends, and no one added their spouses to the group. He also mentioned that I had met all the members before. A bunch of guys with nothing meaningful to talk about. I opened the list of group members, and indeed, they were all people I had met before, except for Valerie, the group owner. Her profile picture was of herself, with her hair swept to one side, showing her delicate profile as she quietly copied scriptures. And Clark's profile picture was, coincidentally, a page from a scripture. I had asked him why he used such an old-fashioned picture as his profile photo. He said it was to pray for me and our son. A wave of nausea rose in my stomach as I stared at the delicate calligraphy. Feeling utterly disgusted, because of Valerie's return, The group chat was lively for a long time. Half an hour later, Clark hesitantly chimed in, "Diana has been very good to me and my family. I can't bear to hurt her. Do you love her?" "Not really." I didn't bother to look at the "I can't bear to hurt her" message or follow up on the group's reactions. I only saw his reply saying he didn't love me. When Wade was 4 years old, I became pregnant with our second child. At that time, Clark was competing with his older brother for power. To help him secure funding, I flew 80,000 kilometers in a week, sleeping only 3 hours a day. The funding was secured, but I miscarried due to overwork. In the hospital, Clark held me and said that I was the love of his life. The love of his life, but not the one he liked. To Clark, love was a responsibility, a habit, but not something that made his heart flutter. Because there was no spark, the system never alerted me that the mission was complete. The truth of the situation closed the loop at that moment. I opened their private chat history again. Clark cherished every conversation with Valerie. In the 15 years they had known each other, he never deleted any of their messages. 7 years ago, when we got married, Clark sent her a message. "I'm marrying someone else. Are you sure you're not coming back?" Valerie replied, "I have my own dreams I can't give up." 6 years ago, when Wade was just born, Clark sent her a photo of our child. "I give up. You said you don't want to get pregnant and have children. If you come back, this child will be ours." Valerie replied, "I'll treat him as if he were my own." After that, their conversations became more frequent. During the 7 years of our marriage, Clark would take our son to Australia to visit her every year. Under the pretense of a vacation, they followed each other on all social media platforms. And on Instagram, they seemed like a loving family. My mother-in-law even gave Valerie the bracelet that symbolized being a daughter-in-law of the Song family. The group of friends who usually teased Clark and me behind my back said I was a pathetic woman occupying someone else's place. I laughed out of anger and asked the system, "Does this mean I failed the mission? Can I fake my death and go to another world for a new mission?" After working hard for 7 years, I didn't want to end up heartbroken and return to being a vegetable. The system hesitated. "Host, you don't have enough points to go to another world." But, perhaps feeling guilty for not warning me earlier, the system continued. "I recently saw the supervisor's plan with Clark's marriage. Valerie's role as the main female character in this world has ended. A new target will appear in this world. If you successfully win over the new target, your mission will still be considered complete. However, this new target is an SSS level, and the difficulty will be much higher." Does he have an unforgettable first love? No, he's a pretentious male lead, a typical male protagonist type, who doesn't have any women in his heart. As long as there's no woman, I've had enough of these unforgettable first loves and red marks of regret. I'd rather win over a cold-hearted, emotionless man. I asked the system to give me a new identity and start over. Before leaving, I used my last points to alter everyone's memories in this world, truly making Valerie their wife, daughter-in-law, and sister-in-law. The system hesitated. "Should I alter your son's memory as well?" "Yes, change it." Not long after Clark sent that message, Wade sent him a text. "I heard Aunt Valerie is back. Dad, can Aunt Valerie be my mom? She's so beautiful and knows everything. She's not like Mom, who only has a bachelor's degree. Even the mom next door has a master's degree." Father and son, one on a business trip, the other at summer camp, were thinking about the same woman from miles apart. The injustice of it all overwhelmed me. Burning into a twisted rage, I took out the family photo from my wallet, lit it with a lighter, and threw it back, burning the house and their passports to ashes. Chapter 3. After that, I accepted the system's mission and began to pursue this world's new pretentious male lead, Eden. Eden was indeed difficult to win over, but fortunately, he had a heart. Every increase in his affection value was clearly manifested in him. The first time, he was being hunted down in a remote mountain, and I saved him. He said, "Apart from money, I won't repay you in any other way." But there was no signal in the mountains. The next day, unable to make a transfer on his phone, his affection value forcibly increased by 10%, and he ended up chopping all the firewood in my yard. Later, I took a bullet for him, and his affection value increased by 30%. Although he knew I did it on purpose, he still used all his resources to bring the culprit to justice. When his affection value reached 80%, he proposed to me. He said, "Diana, I know you may have other motives, but I don't care. Marry me, and I'll help you achieve everything you seek." We got married and had children. Being with someone who truly loves you makes everything seem easy. In a moment of deep affection, I asked Eden, "Why do you love me?" He gently stroked my hair, his eyes full of tenderness. "Because I can't help it." That was the first time I realized that love is something you can't resist, not something you can't bear. On the other end of the phone, Eden was still asking if I would be home for dinner. Over the years, I had opened my own studio, and as work got busier, my appetite worsened. Only when Eden personally cooked could I eat heartily. "Yes, I'll be home for dinner, but I want to eat crayfish." "Okay, I'll make it for you." Eden's tone was indulgent. We chatted affectionately for a while before hanging up. Turning around, I saw Clark standing in the doorway of my studio with Wade, his expression dark. Chapter 4. 5 years have passed. Wade has grown taller, and his demeanor has become more and more like Clark. The 11-year-old boy stood at the entrance of my studio, looking down at me, and asked, "Mom, who were you talking to on the phone?" Clark stood silently beside him, not speaking or intervening. Clearly, he was curious too. I locked my phone screen and put it in my bag. "That's private. And you, young man, have mistaken me for someone else. I'm not your mother." Wade seemed stunned that I would deny him. And, in shock, he stepped forward to hug my arm. "I didn't mistake you. You are my mom. Mom, I've missed you so much. Why don't you recognize me?" As he spoke, tears welled up in his eyes, and he began to cling to me, acting spoiled. 5 minutes passed, and I remained unmoved, even showing a hint of impatience in my expression due to his persistence. Finally, Wade couldn't take it anymore and snatched my bag, desperately searching for proof that I was his mother. He opened my wallet, but the photo inside was no longer his. He unlocked my phone, but the lock screen password was no longer his birthday. From the moment I decided to start a new life, I erased all traces of him and Clark, even his chromosomes. I had the system change them to Valerie's. There was no evidence left that could prove I was his mother. All the relatives, friends, and even the whole world would only remember that the daughter-in-law of the Song family was Valerie, and I was nothing more than a stranger with no connection. Wade broke down in tears. I put away my bag and looked at Clark. "Sir, you're this child's parent, right? A child needs to be well taught, and rummaging through a stranger's personal belongings is not behavior befitting someone with proper upbringing. I have something to do later, so please, take your son back." Before I could finish, Clark went crazy, covering my mouth with his hand. His eyes were bloodshot as he demanded, "Why? Why did you leave us? Why does everyone say our wife, our mother, is Valerie?" Chapter 5. The difference in physical strength between men and women is innate, and after struggling for a while, I still couldn't break free from Clark's grip. Just as I was about to bite him, my phone rang from inside my bag, playing the playful song that Eden and our son often sang together. "Dad, when the sun comes out, does the moon go home?" "Yes, that's right. When the stars come out, where does the sun go?" "Up in the sky." The sun, stars, and moon are a happy family. This was a song we sang as a family during this year's kindergarten performance. At first, I didn't want to set it as my ringtone, but Russell, that little rascal, threatened me while lying on top of our dog, Max. He said that if I didn't set it, he would run away from home with Max. I wasn't too worried about him, after all. The son of a pretentious male lead had mercenaries secretly protecting him even when he played in the sandbox. But Max was really old, and I worried about his frail limbs suffering if they were out in the world. Upon hearing the ringtone, Wade, who had been crouching on the ground crying, suddenly stopped, and Clark's face lit up with a strange sense of hope. "Is that the happy family? Diana, you miss us too, don't you? You miss our family. Otherwise, You wouldn't have set this song as your ringtone. I rolled my eyes skyward. I shook my head, freeing myself from his grasp. Sorry. My husband and son have no musical talent. Sorry you had to hear that. As I spoke, I pulled out my phone and answered Russell's call. Sweetheart. What's wrong? Do you miss mommy? My tone was so soft that even I felt it was a bit over the top. On the other end of the line, the 5-year-old boy hesitated, thinking he had committed some terrible mistake that I had caught him for. He stammered, Mommy, do you know? I didn't mean to scare Sophia with the grasshopper. Daddy said fried grasshoppers taste good, so I gave it to her. What? You scared a classmate with a grasshopper? No mother can stay gentle for more than 5 seconds. So that's why his teacher sent me a message and then retracted it. It turns out she thought my son was beyond saving. My tone became sharp. Let me speak to your father. What kind of father teaches his son to give grasshoppers to his female classmates? Eden didn't get a chance to answer. Clark snatched my phone and smashed it to the ground. What do you mean by sweetheart? Diana, your husband and son are right here. Chapter 6. The air was still for half a minute as the irritation faded from my face, replaced by cold indifference. Once, I had also smashed Clark's phone. That was when I discovered that he had labeled me as Ms. Diana in his contacts. At that time, he and our son had just returned from Australia. Wade had caught a foreign virus and was burning up with a fever that soared to 40 degrees. Muttering incoherently, Valerie, Valerie. I couldn't quite hear him, so I massaged his stomach while calling Clark. The phone rang. Clark had left it in the garden. I walked over to bring it to him, but then I saw the caller ID, Ms. Diana. I was Ms. Diana, but how could I be Ms. Diana in this phone? Just 3 months ago, I was still wife. Instinct told me the reason for the change was in the phone. I picked it up and entered my birthday, unlock failed. Wedding anniversary, unlock failed. Son's birthday, mother-in-law's birthday, Clark's birthday, all failed. Clark happened to return to the house, and when he saw me going through his phone, his brows furrowed. What are you doing? Our son has caught a foreign virus. The family doctor says we need to get him to the hospital immediately. Give me the phone first. Why did my contact name change? Give me the phone first. In the struggle, I threw the phone to the ground. Why do you take our son to Australia every year? Why can your mother go, your father go, even your childhood friends go, but not me? Why has my contact name become Ms. Diana? Back then, I thought the system had malfunctioned, and I had staked my whole life on this family. For 6 years, every year Clark would take our son on a vacation to Australia. Yet he never once wanted to take me. The vast southern hemisphere seemed to have become a forbidden zone for me. I could go to the UK for negotiations, to France for exhibitions, to Africa for aid work, but I could never go to Australia, and all of this without a single reason. Anxiety and helplessness drained my strength, and I squatted on the ground, crying out loud. Clark walked over to me, looked down at me from above. Diana, stop being crazy. You look ugly. How ugly, you ask? Returning to the present, I looked at the frantic, disheveled Clark in front of me. Indeed, you look very ugly. Years of memory confusion had taken a toll on Clark's mental state. Dark circles hung under his eyes, and he had lost a whole size in weight. Maybe in an effort to reconnect with me, he was wearing the suit I had custom-made for him 5 years ago. The once broad shoulders now seemed empty, making him look like a frail little chick. When he heard me call him ugly, Clark's pupils constricted, and he looked at me in disbelief. Diana, what are you saying? I didn't answer. I simply called the security guards, and as they restrained him, I slipped away. I thank him for teaching me that not all questions have answers. Behind me, Clark and Wade were still shouting, Diana, have you lost your memory too? We really are a family. We really are your husband and son. Captain Wong, the head of the security team, who used to be a mercenary under Eden, slapped him across the face. You're delusional. When I got home, Eden was in the kitchen, shirtless, wearing an apron and cooking crayfish. Hearing me come in, he poked his head out and greeted me with a sycophantic smile. Honey, you're back. I made 3 flavors of crayfish today: garlic, salted egg yolk, And spicy. We've got it all. Russell scurried over to help me with my bag. They both thought the sudden disconnection of the call meant I was angry. The mouth-watering aroma of crayfish filled the air as I walked into the kitchen. Next time, don't teach our son nonsense. You only ate grasshoppers back then because times were tough. Now, with all the pollution, be careful you don't end up with an upset stomach someday. Eden nodded. Got it, my dear wife. Chapter 7. That night, Eden pinned me down on the bed and whispered in my ear. I heard someone was bothering you today. My body tensed up. And no one. I immediately regretted it and wanted to slap myself. Wong is his man. The moment Clark and his son set foot in the neighborhood, he must have known. Eden playfully twirled a strand of my hair. No one? They were just two irrelevant people. I didn't want to worry you, so I didn't mention it. I gave in, snuggling into his arms and trying to make up for it by acting sweet. When I accepted this mission, the system warned me that lying and hiding things from Eden was a grave mistake. For a man who had crawled out of the darkness, the thing he feared most was betrayal. But after 7 years with Clark, I was left with deep scars, unable to fully trust or give myself to any man. Eden's hand moved from my neck to my waist. Irrelevant people. Huh? Are you sure, sweetheart? Because I heard the little one called you mom, and the big one called you wife. His large hand gripped my waist tightly, and he bit down on my collarbone, leaving a mark that was uniquely his. Who were those two people? Had we crossed paths before? These questions had probably been thoroughly investigated by the time Russell called me for the second time. Eden hadn't found anything, but I had instinctively lied, and such a lie angered him more than the truth would have. Buried under the weight of him, emotions surged and erupted in the darkness. He covered my mouth like Clark did. His fingers slightly parted, allowing only muffled whimpers to escape. As the first rays of morning light filtered into the bedroom, Eden leaned down and whispered in my ear, Diana, don't ever let me find out you've lied to me, because I don't know what I might do. Eden loves me, this much the system made abundantly clear. His affection for me stands at 99%, but 5 years have passed, and that remaining 1% hasn't budged. I don't even know what's holding it back. He can trust me with his life, tolerate all my pretensions, and would even die for me, but he just can't fully give me his heart. Without the progress reaching 100%, I can't leave. When I woke up the next morning, Eden had already left for work. On the dining table was my favorite strawberry milk and a somewhat defiant apology note. Last night, I was wrong to bite you, but you shouldn't have instinctively hidden things from me. So, we're even. I don't want to fight with you. I'll bring you some cake when I come back tonight. Honey, don't be mad at me. He even added a little pleading dwarf at the end. Definitely Russell's idea. I could just picture the two of them working together early in the morning to write this note, scratching their heads with worried expressions. All the unpleasantness from yesterday vanished. I put away the note, ready to call Eden and reassure his anxious heart. But just then, my phone suddenly rang. A voice, both unfamiliar and familiar, came through the line. Is this Ms. Diana? Would it be convenient for us to talk? Chapter 8. The voice was unfamiliar because I had never spoken to her directly. It was familiar because, in that night's chat history, I had listened to far too many of her voice messages. In the VIP suite of the Family Kingdom Club, Valerie was dressed in a Chanel suit, her expression gentle. When she saw me arrive, she hurriedly signaled her assistant to help me with my bag. Ms. Diana, right? I heard my husband and son went to see you yesterday. I'm truly sorry. I've been so busy with work these past years that I've neglected them, and it's led to their memories getting a bit confused. They keep thinking that their wife and mother is someone named Diana. As she spoke, she poured me a cup of tea, her eyes probing. To be honest, this isn't the first time this has happened. Over the years, they've mistaken quite a few people. I have to deal with this several times a year. Ultimately, it's our fault. I apologize on behalf of my husband and son. The teacup clinked as we sipped the delicate, aromatic pre-rain Longjing tea. I knew why she wanted to meet me today. When the system informed me that Clark and his son had regained their memories, I suspected that as the original female lead of this world, Valerie's memories must have been stirred as well. In the dead of night, she might often dream of her past. In those dreams, she was a woman with dreams but no achievements, mistaking pearls for mere stones. Her current identity, status, and wealth all belonged to another woman. While she was merely the third party in someone else's marriage, she had conducted countless paternity tests, but her husband and son still insisted that their wife and mother was someone else. Over time, even she began to doubt herself. The original lady of the Song family really seemed to be named Diana. I took a sip of the tea and then put the cup down. No need to apologize. I lost my temper yesterday and threw your husband and son out of the neighborhood. If there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. My husband and son are waiting for me. You have a husband? Hearing that I was married, Valerie's eyes flickered with surprise, and she couldn't hide the joy in her expression. When did you get married? Do you have children? She quickly tried to appear casual, brushing her hair back with a hand adorned with a diamond ring. I just feel a connection with Ms. Tang, so I was a bit concerned. Seeing her flustered expression, I suddenly felt a wave of sadness. I used to be just like her, tormented by the distance of my husband and the fact that my son wanted another woman as his mother. Caught in deep internal conflict and anxiety, there was always a period when the father and son would leave inexplicably, as if they had another home somewhere unknown to me. Life is a cycle, and the forbidden ground from 12 years ago had crossed the time tunnel to frame the current Mrs. Song. Valerie looked at me, her eyes filled with hope. We got married 5 years ago, and our child is already 5. When I said this, she exhaled a long breath. The rest of the meal went surprisingly smoothly. Valerie had wronged me once, but I had found other ways to make her bear the consequences for the rest of her life. She mentioned that Wade was very filial, always preparing a heating pad for her because he knew she had cramps every month. I said that Russell was the same. He even learned how to make brown sugar water from his dad. 2 bowls of brown sugar water every month. How am I supposed to finish that? You can't finish it. You can't. Valerie's expression was awkward. Just as we were about to declare how happy we were and agree to leave each other alone in the future, the door to the private room was pushed open. Clark stormed in, dragging Wade by the hand, his face filled with anger. Who told you to disturb her? Chapter 9. 1 minute ago. Wade was the epitome of filial piety in Valerie's words. 1 minute later, the boy was punching and kicking at the woman. You're trying to tear our family apart again. It's because of you that Mom left us in the first place. You're just a homewrecker. It's all your fault. All your fault. Valerie's face turned pale, unable to maintain her composure. She pushed Wade away with force. Enough. Your grandparents, even the housemaids, have all told you I am your wife and mother, but you just won't believe it. You do paternity tests every month, and half the year you spend outside looking for this Diana. Do you not believe we're a family? Or do you not believe that Diana has nothing to do with you? Tears streamed down her face. The breakdown I once experienced was now, 5 years later, happening to her. I pulled out a tissue, intending to wipe her tears. Clark stopped me abruptly. Don't go near her. She's unstable right now. She might hurt you. He was worried she might hurt me, so he didn't want me to get close. Was this the same reason he kept me from setting foot in Australia back then? How ironic. I handed the tissue to Valerie and then turned around, slapping Clark hard across the face. You're a disgusting executioner. If I hadn't left back then, if I had stayed and confronted them, would he have treated me the same way he's treating Valerie now? When he loves someone, he protects them at all costs. When he doesn't, he tosses them aside like a dirty rag, too filthy to even glance at. The thought that I once considered spending the rest of my life with such a person makes my future seem bleak. I grabbed my bag and fled the scene. I no longer wanted anything to do with people like him. Clark and Wade, seeing me run, hurriedly chased after me, panting and stopping only when they reached the villa's entrance. Diana, you might not believe this. Everyone's memories in this world have been altered, including yours. 5 years ago, we really were a family. You really were my wife and Wade's mother. Wade stepped forward at the right moment, clinging to my arm. Mom, please don't leave Wade. I'll be good from now on. I wanted to tell them that I hadn't lost my memory, that I was the one who altered everyone's memories. Just then, a dog barked, and Russell's soft, childish voice called out from nearby, "Mom, are you hiding another child from Dad?" Chapter 10. At the entrance of the villa, on the greenery path, Eden stood holding a cake, with Russell and Max by his side, his expression unreadable. From the first time we met, I had told Clark that I was already married, that I now had my own husband and child, but they didn't believe me. Now, with my family standing right in front of them, Clark looked at me, his voice strained. "Who are they?" I stepped forward, linking my left arm with Eden's and taking Russell's hand in my right. "Let me introduce them. This is my husband, my child, and our dog." Hearing itself introduced, Max barked twice, startling Wade, who quickly shrank back. The truth is, Wade used to love Max the most. When he was just a baby and wouldn't stop crying, only the jingling bell carried by the family dog could calm him down. When Wade was 3, he was bullied by older kids in the neighborhood. And Max, despite being beaten by those kids, hobbled over to protect his little owner. But when he was 4, Wade suddenly told me he was allergic to dog fur. How could someone develop an allergy to dog fur after living with a dog for 4 years? I insisted on taking him to the hospital for a checkup. But Clark stopped me. "Is the child more important or the dog?" That single sentence decided Max's fate. Later, I found out from their chat history that it wasn't Wade who was allergic to dog fur, but Valerie. They sent Max away simply because that year, Valerie found dog hair on them. Dogs only remember kindness, not grudges. Seeing guests at home, Max instinctively wagged his tail to greet them. I patted Max's head. "Silly dog." Clark's lips quivered. "Is this Max?" "Yes. I brought him back." Max was the puppy we adopted on our wedding day. Back then, Clark jokingly said that Max was our eldest son, but in front of his unforgettable first love, even our eldest son was just a dog. By now, Clark understood everything. I had brought back our old dog. I remembered the past. I wasn't unaware that we were once a family. I just didn't want them anymore. The dog had left those who didn't love it, found a new family, and gained new loved ones. Clark let out a self-deprecating laugh and, accepting his fate, moved with Wade to the other side of the greenery path, forcing a polite smile. "It seems we really did mistake you for someone else." Wade's eyes widened as if he wanted to protest, but Clark firmly led him away. Chapter 11. 1 month later, Clark sent me a letter. In it, he told me that he had transferred all his shares to me, something he believed I deserved. Valerie, unable to distinguish between memory and reality, had been admitted to a sanatorium. Wade had severed ties with the Song family and had gone to the UK. At the end of the letter, he wished me happiness for the rest of my life, saying that his belated act of letting go was his way of making amends. Just as I had once let them go, he wished me a life of happiness and a good partner who would always be by my side. Holding this letter, I sat with Max on the rooftop for a long time. In the distance, thousands of lights flickered, the full moon hung high, and the unique noise of this world echoed in my ears. I've been here for 12 years now. I've had 2 husbands and 2 children. Have my parents aged 12 years too? A breeze tousled my hair, and a large hand gently tapped it behind my ear. Eden sat down next to me with a small cake. "You're not happy?" "I'm not mad about what happened today." "Well, maybe a little, but as long as you explain, I'll believe you." He's always like this, clearly a top-level mafia boss outside. But in the game of love, he's willing to play the role of a loser for me. No, that's not right. It's precisely because of the imbalance in our material status that he chooses to play the loser. Because he's afraid I'll feel insecure, afraid I'll feel lost. Gender inequality is common in modern family relationships, but he lowered himself, hiding his sharp edges, to balance the unsteady scales for me. I hugged him, my voice muffled. "I've been married before." I figured, and I had a child with someone else. "I know." Eden hugged me back. "If that's what you were hiding, then I can forgive you. If you miss that child, we can bring him to live with us. Everyone has a past. I only want your present and future." "But Diana, am I really in your future?" I was stunned and looked up at him. His dark eyes were filled with stars and deep affection. I know you're not from this world. I know that once your progress hits 100%, you'll leave." Fireworks exploded in my mind. "I proposed to you because I couldn't help it. I have my career. You have your life. I thought that even if you left later, there would be no regrets. As long as you're happy, as long as you want, and as long as I can." "But Diana," his hand caressed my face, "I don't want to let you go anymore. It was one morning, I think, when I saw you and Russell sleeping peacefully, that I suddenly didn't want to let you leave. My life before was all about fighting and leveling up. But after meeting you, I finally had a home." The system prompt suddenly chimed in. "Mission complete. Progress 100%. Host, would you like to leave this world?" Eden let out a bitter laugh. "Go ahead, Diana. 5 years is enough." A week later, in a bustling 21st century shopping mall, I was shopping for clothes with 2 elderly people. Because I completed the mission, the system rewarded me with many material gifts. I arranged the best nursing home for my parents and purchased the most secure retirement savings plan. That ever-startled system suddenly sounded an alarm. "Danger, danger, dimensional breach. Host, something's wrong. Your big pretentious husband and little pretentious son have broken through the dimensional barrier to find you." Does your system always breach like this? Is that really okay? Turning around, I saw Eden holding a bag of crayfish, Russell carrying a small cake, and Max with my purse in his mouth, all with grim expressions. "You really left when I told you to? If we hadn't come for you, would you have really never returned?" I rushed over, hugging the 2 of them and the dog with flattery. How could I? I still had one compensation from the system for its mistake, allowing me to go to any dimensional world. I was planning to settle my parents first and then go find them. Russell puffed up with anger. I nudged him and pointed to my parents. "Say hi to Grandpa and Grandma." "Grandpa, Grandma, hey!" Meeting the in-laws for the first time, Eden was at a loss, and Max wagged his tail frantically, his big eyes wide with excitement. In this world, I finally had a complete family.